So I guess we are live, and let us know in the comment section that I'm audible so that we can start our session today. Hello everybody, hello everybody. Today we're going to have Ayush as a guest on TC Talks, and he will be talking about how he started with Flutter, how he started contributing on Flutter project, right? So we're going to have a good session today, interactive session. Make sure to ask the questions, whatever you have, whether it is related to contribution or what we can do in Flutter or what cannot be done in Flutter. Whatever the question you have, make sure to ask, because he's the one who can answer, I guess, everything, because he got a good experience working on Dart and Flutter as well. So yeah, let us know in the comment section that I am audible, right? My video is good. My voice is visible to you. Hi, Gurpreet. Hello, everyone. Cool. You can ask the questions. We will have a questions at the end, and we will be having a Q&A session at the end so that we can clarify all the questions what you have. Okay. Cool. Thanks, Gurpreet, for your feedback. We have voice 10 on 10, but I guess there will be some issues with the video because I don't have a great setup. So maybe we will come up with a great setup soon. Cool, Flutterist. We will be having a Q&A session soon. Once we are done with our whole session, right? At the end, we will be having a Q&A session so that we can take the questions one by one, and then we will try our level best to answer them. So let's wait for 2 to 3 minutes so that everyone can join, right? And then we can start our session. So a brief idea, what is going to happen today in our session, right? The first thing is, Ayush is going to talk about how you can start working or start contributing on Flutter project. So when it comes to a Flutter project, means that you are going to actually work on the Flutter code, right? If you're going to find some issues in the GitHub repositories, you will work on that, right? You will try to find a solution for that issue, and then you make a PR, how you manage the PR, right? What are the things you need to do before you make PR? So all those things is going to it is going to be a part of this discussion, and I hope that you guys will understand how you can start contributing on Flutter. And we will be having, I am having so many questions, so I'm going to ask that questions to Ayush, right? So hi Abdullah, you are excited, even I'm excited. I'm having so many questions, and I'm going to ask those all questions, and I'm going to clear all my doubts today with the Ayush. So we have Ayush waiting, but we need to wait for our audience to come in, right? We have 7 watching. Come on, guys. Let us know whatever the question we have at the end of the session. This is for those who joined just now, right? And make sure to ask the questions, whatever the question you have. So last Sunday, yeah, we had a Max over here, and the session was great. I enjoyed the session, and it was quite good interactive. And main thing, you need to know us in the comment section that whom you want on this series, like who is going to be a next guest on this series. So let us know that we can try our level best to contact with that person, and then I will try to bring that person into the next talk, and then you can ask the question, and actually you can interact with that person directly. Okay, so hi Prashant. Yeah, we have episode 1 done on the next Friday. Last Sunday. Yeah, as I said, with the Max Weber. He is a guy who is running Flutter Explain channel. So we had an episode 1. You can just go ahead and check it out after this session. So, hi Prashant, hi everyone. We will wait for 1 more minute, and then we will bring in our guest, and we will start our session. So make sure to comment out whom you want next on this channel, so that we will try our level best to bring that person. Hi Amit, hi everyone, hi Amit. welcoming you. So I know Amit personally. He is my junior. So hi, Amit. I hope you're well. We have not talked from so long. I hope you're well. So welcome, Amit, one more time. Welcome, Prashant. Welcome, everyone. We have 9% watching, and 30 more seconds to go or to bring in our guest. I'm more excited. So yeah, cool. Make sure to have a cool questions at the end of the session. Okay, and 20 more seconds to go. Mariano. Okay, so I will try my best to contact Mariano, right? And I will ask Mariano to come and talk on my channel. I will try my best to bring Mariano for sure. Now Gurpreet has said, so I will definitely approach Mariano. Is this session only for discussion? Exactly. I won't say that it is only for that purpose, but we are going to discuss that only. But if you have questions regarding to something else which is related to Flutter, then we will try to answer this. But it is going to be more discussion on SDK, how you can actually work on the Flutter SDK, right? So I guess we are good to go, and let's bring in the Ayush, right? So hey Ayush, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me here. It's
Yeah.
a
So I
pleasure.
should be thankful that you are on my channel and you're giving your precious time to us and to interact with the audience. And we are thankful to you that you are over here on our channel. So Ayush, how it's going?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess due to
Okay.
pandemic, the things are not going well, but hopefully we will come across this thing.
Yeah. So let's hope for the best. So Ayush, first question from my side: Have you started with Flutter, or what is your story behind Flutter and getting started with Flutter?
That's a pretty good question, I guess. So basically, when I was in the second year, I used to do the Android development using Java, but I saw in 2018 I went to the Dev Fest in the local GDG community, GDG Baroda, and in the Dev Fest there was a talk regarding Flutter. So I came across Flutter at that time, and then when I went home, I set up the SDK. It was still in the beta at that time, early beta. I tried to set up the SDK and I tried to work with it, and it was a pretty good experience. And whenever you are coming from Android background or iOS background, you know that in the Android, if you want a recycler view, you need to write a lot of codes, which you can easily do with the disk builder in the Flutter. So for me as a student, it was pretty good to have, I mean, access to the Flutter to write the build some cool UIs. So that's how I got hooked with the Flutter from that time.
Okay, so you've been working on Flutter from the early beta, 2017 or 2018, like the mid 2017.
2008.
Okay, so I guess I also started my career with Flutter in a beta. I guess recently I watched my old video where I showed people how to install Flutter on the YouTube, and I realized, yeah, that I started working when Flutter was in beta. So yeah, I had a great experience working on Flutter, and there is no, I guess there is no learning curve if you know the basics of web, even web, then it is pretty good to work on Flutter. So Ayush, the next question from my side is, what is the like what is the secret behind working on the Flutter SDK, and right now you are actually working with the Flutter team, if I'm not wrong, that you are actually working with the persons who are working in the Flutter team. You're working on the platform channels, on the Dart, and many more stuff. So can you say how we can get started working on Flutter SDK, what we can do to what extra tools we need to start working on Flutter SDK or Flutter project, right? So what's the secret behind that? Can you just tell us?
So it's a kind of funny story how I get along with contributing to Flutter. So if you remember the GSOC, it's Google Summer of Code, and this was the first time that Dart took part in the GSOC. So I went through the Dart projects, what are the projects, and there I found there were 3 to 4 projects related to Flutter, which I thought were pretty cool, which I can do because I had an experience of how to write the test and everything in my previous corporate experience. So I decided let's take part in the GSOC this year because there is Dart obviously in Flutter team also. So I, for the sake of getting into the GSOC, I started exploring the Flutter samples repository, and in that I still started contributing. And then I came across a tweet on the Twitter which said, I don't remember the person name, but he was Flutter GD. So he had tweeted that many people ask him that they want to contribute to Flutter SDK, but the answer is simple: that you go to the issues, you find the easy label, easy fix issues, the first good contributor issue, and try to stick your nose into the SDK and try to solve it. So I did the same thing, and I was able to land my first PR. So that's the story how I started with the contributing to Flutter, and then it's like a good thing because then you get to know how the internal framework is working, how widgets are working, and everything. So that how I got hooked to it, and how you can start contributing. What tools you need is nothing else. So there are basically 34 or 35 repositories right now in the Flutter organization, from which no repository needs extra tooling except the engine. So if you want to work on the Flutter engine, then you need to have an extra setup, like you need to have C++ in your in your workstation. You also need to have C sharp. You also need to have the Java SDK and everything. You also need to have some other tools for building the engine and everything. Apart from that, there is nothing more. You just need to fork the repo, clone the repo, fork it, and then get it in your local PC. Try to change something and see if the issue is getting fixed or not. So try to get in the source code and try to do something and see if the issue is fixing or not. If your issue is getting fixed, you are good to send a PR.
Okay. So it is pretty simple that we just need to fork the repo right into our local system, and then we can directly start working. There is no different when you work
Yeah.
on actual Flutter project, as well as on your own project. So you're going to use same widgets and same code. You're going to see the
Yes.
same code even in Flutter SDK as well. So
Yes.
if you're using Row to build something, in the same manner, Flutter SDK is also using Row to build something behind
Yeah.
the scene.
So
Okay, cool.
basically, if you go through if you go to the raise button and everything, raise button also has a constructor which is raise button dot icon, which gives you an icon plus a label for your button. So if you see from a Flutter developer perspective, how can you achieve this? You can simply use a row to have an icon plus text. So internally, the
Cool.
row button dot icon uses the same thing to do the things internally.
Okay.
Black magic happening
So
over there.
okay. So there is no other stuff. If you know like how Flutter works, or you know the basics of Flutter and Dart, then you can easily contribute on that. Okay. So
Yes.
I was actually I came on the Max video when he was trying to fix some issues, right? And he was trying to install some stuff. So that was my first video that, and after seeing his PR and after seeing his contribution, I also felt that I should also pick some issues, and then I should also start working on it, and I should also make one PR, and I should also become a contributor to a Flutter project. And I have actually started that. I am working on it. Uh, but while exploring the Flutter repository on GitHub, I was confused, right? I was confused. Like I want to know that which is the correct issue over there, and how can I pick, okay, this is the correct issue and there is a problem and I should start working on it, or there is someone who is going to say you that this is the correct issue and you should work on it. So is there any flow over there, or you can just go ahead, clone it, read the whole discussion, what has happened on that thread or on that issue, and then you can start working on it?
So I can break the answer into many parts. The first one is how to get a issue that you can work on. So can I share my screen over here so I can show
Yeah,
you how
sure,
to
sure, you
find the
can.
link.
Yeah.
So if you come to the issues in the Flutter repository, you can find that you can apply the labels over here. Now, every open source project has some labels that indicates that they want the new contributors to come in their repository and contribute. So you can search for the easy fix labels. So easy
Okay.
fix labels are given by the team who know that this can be easy fix. It will not require you to go through a lot of changes. You can only do these changes in 3 to 4 lines or sometimes more. So you can go through the easy fix issues which you can fix easily. So right now, if you can see, there are 79 issues which are labeled as easy fix, which you can firstly go through. Now
Okay.
there are also other things that you can other labels that you can apply. Now it is not the case that you always work with the material or Cupertino widget. I mean, sometimes people work only with the Cupertino widget, and sometimes people only work with the material widget. Now, if you're not aware about how Cupertino widgets actually work, or if you have never used it, you can also apply like material over here. So it will bifurcate the issues which are related to material widgets and also which are labeled as easy fix. So right now, if you can see, I apply the two labels and it gives me 14 issues which are based on the material widgets and are easy to fix. So that's how you can find the issues. Now, once you have find the issue, once you have find the issue, what you can do is, let me share my screen. I can show you how I do things. So basically, you can go on the issue. And first thing you need to do is understand what the issue is. Is it reproducible or not? Sometimes it happens that people are the setup is not correct or something is is not there. So they filed an issue, but you need to make sure that the issue is reproducible. It means the issue still exists in the framework or not, because he might be using it in the stable version, but it might be fixed in the master version, because the issue is fixed in the master branch comes to the stable branch very slowly. So you need to make sure that it is fixed in the master branch also. And if you are still able to replace the issue in the master branch, you can simply comment a team member and you can say that I want to solve this issue. Once you have commented I want to solve this issue, you can also say what kind of solution or approach you are taking. Like I can shows my issues how I do it. So basically, if you can see over here, is it visible or should I zoom in?
It would be
Okay,
great if you little bit zoom in. Yeah, this looks fine.
is
Yeah.
it okay? So if you read the title over here, this style caption font size is not changing. So first I need to understand why it is not changing. So I went into the framework and I see what thing is causing it not to change. So I figured out something that was it only uses the color of the caption. I mean the caption text style dot caption text theme dot caption, and not the font style and everything. So I commented over here and I suggested a solution that I can send a PR to fix this behavior. I mean, mention this behavior in the docs. Because if you mention this behavior in the docs, then people already know that why it is not changing and everything. So people won't file an issue for that. And that's how you can contribute the documentation also. And documentation plays a very big role. If you can see, Flutter has a great documentation, which is the thing I like the most about it. So you can also comment your solution. I want to solve this issue in this way, and see if it is a good idea. He can say, "I send you the issue," and you can submit a PR over there.
Okay. So
So
yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead.
You can question me.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, before making PR, what are the things we need, like we should take care of, that we should not run into the problem after making an PR? Or what happens if I do some mistake while making a PR? Do my see, I'm going to spend so much of time finding the solution, right? And then I'm going to of course I'm trying to make a PR for the first time on the Flutter repository, and I don't know how exactly it works, right? So what happens if I do some mistake while making a PR? So how exactly we should deal with that problem?
So if the mistakes usually occurs when you don't read a contributing dot MD or contributing guide. Now To be very frank, I did the same mistake. I didn't read the contributing guide properly. The contributing guide has everything that you make sure that your PR is good. Now I will also show you that how it is working. So basically, if you go in the if you go in the code, there will be always a contributing guide how contributors can contribute to the framework. So here you will find the steps that you need to make sure that you are sending a proper PR. Now, first thing is a tree hygiene. Now, tree hygiene covers everything that you need to know how to send a PR and how to handle the breaking changes and everything. Like if you go into the tree hygiene, it says everything that you need to make sure the things are proper. So you can read this, which is pretty long. I know it is pretty long, but you can always ask a person who has already contributed. So I will give you a few tips. That is,
Cool.
first thing, that if you're working on the Flutter, you might be knowing that Flutter we use Dart.fmt, right, for our Flutter projects. Now Flutter
Yes.
SDK do not use the Dart.fmt. So never use Dart.fmt in your Flutter project. Otherwise, you will be ending with a lot of addition and deletions. I guess the million
Okay.
additions and deletions because they don't use Dart.fmt. And what I did was in my first PR, I used the Dart.fmt, and
Okay.
it cost me 10,000, more than 10,000 addition and deletions,
Oh my God.
which was which was which was pretty horrible for me, and I had to revert my changes back again, and I need to send a new, new changes to the PR. So first thing is to make sure that you don't use the Dart.fmt. Second
Okay.
thing is every what I can say, every widget has some final parameters which you can final properties which you can use in the constructor. Now every final property in your widget should be documented properly. So if you're declaring any new property in any widget, so suppose if you have a container widget, and if you're and there was no with property already available in the container widget, so you have decided to contribute that you will be adding a with property in the container. Now, when you are adding the with property, you will be declaring with the final by default, and you will be adding in the constructor. Now, by default, if you are not documenting it properly, then it will send you an error in your test, because every
Okay.
final member of the class should be documented properly. That's the rule that you need to go through.
Okay.
And other thing is that it follows 80 lines. Like your code length should be 80 lines only. If you're writing a documentation, you can go through n lines, like n number of characters in a single line. So it is not like that. You need to stop at 80 characters. But it is okay if you're going with the 83 or 85 because you don't want to break the word. So that's also a thing that you need to make sure. The other thing is always write a test. Whenever you're contributing to the framework, you need to make sure that you are writing a test, otherwise your PR will be reverted. That's the first thing that is written in the the tree hygiene that we saw over here. So basically why it is important is, so just consider that you are sending a PR to fix something, and you're not
Okay.
written the test. What you did was you used your framework and saw if the issue is fixed or not, but you're not written the test to verify that the issue was fixed properly. So if the Flutter is broken internally, like there is always CI/CD running in the Flutter project. The tests are always running whenever a PR is merged. The benchmark test runs and every test is run. Now, if the benchmark tests are not met, or the tree is broken, what they will do is they will see all the recent PRs, and they will check whether tests were written or not. And the first thing is that if the tests are not written, they will revert your PR, because they might think that this is the thing which is breaking the tree, which is breaking the Flutter build right now. So they will revert the PR. So it's important to write tests because that will make sure that okay, everything is working properly and your solution is right. If you are doing the documentation, you don't need to write a test. That's okay. So yeah,
Okay.
that are the few tips
So
that you need to make sure.
yeah, so a couple of tips like you should not use Dart.fmt, and you should always write a test case for what fix you have given, right? So yeah, One more question from my side. I wanted to know like how the branch of Flutter work. Like for example, we know the master branch is available for production development. We can actually use that and build the apps for production. But how the flow goes, where like when your code will be shifted to the dev, then developer branch, then when your code will be shifted to the stable branch, then when your code will be shifted to the master branch. So is that anything like if you are making a PR on web issues related to web, then of course it is going to go and sit on the beta, right? But if you're making a PR which is on the master, which is currently working, and it's a good fixing that issue, then it will be directly merged and will be given to the master, or will it go to the stable version, then it comes to the master.
So this totally depends on the team. Like I'm not sure how they do it, but
Okay.
it might be depending on the priority of the issues. If you go
Okay.
in the I mean, if you go in the Flutter issues right now, then I will show you. So there are issues labeled as P0 and P1,
Yeah.
which says that if P0 is happening, this is a breaking change. And what the thing is happening is, if it is a breaking change, then you need to fix it very soon, like in no amount of time, within a 1 week. Then you need to fix it because it is breaking. It is breaking the framework internally. So you need to fix it ASAP. And then it depends on the team how they are pushing it to the first to the, what we can say, uh, what is the dev channel, then the beta channel, then
Okay.
it comes to the stable. So
Okay.
it totally depends on the team, and I'm not sure how they do it.
Okay. So basically, the thing is, we need to take care of what we are doing exactly, and we need to follow some rules and regulations. And the best way to follow rules and regulations, or no to rules and regulations, is to read readme file for contribution, right? Now,
Yeah.
even we can go ahead and contribute on the Flutter plugins, the plugins which is provided by the
Yes.
Flutter team, right? So it is not only limited to we can only work on Flutter SDK. We can go and work on the Flutter plugins as well, right? Okay.
Yes.
And the
So
labels,
there are.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah. So the labels which are over there, they are the best way to find the issues, right? We can easily
Yes.
find we can easily find the, or we can easily filter the labels, and then we can grab one issue, we read the whole thread, and then we can start working on it. And
Yes.
currently, I was just exploring, and I came the one which you said right now, P0, P1. So those are the priorities issues, right? That they have assigned the priorities for those particular issues, which needs to be fixed as soon as possible. Okay, cool. So I guess this is good enough to know we can start contributing on Flutter, and I hope that we will do it. The audience will do it. They will try, because we are the one who are working with Flutter, and we are the one who can make our Flutter better version by
Yeah.
contributing on the Flutter project, removing all the issues, and we can make it a better version every day. So it is us who is going to build the Flutter, right? So I hope that you guys understood, for the audience, that you guys understood that how we can get started. And personally, I'm going to put in the description what is the pro tip which Ayush has given, that what you need to do. I will write a complete description for this whole in this below in this video, right? So you anytime you can come in and check what happens. Do we have any questions from the audience side, so that we can easily get the questions, and then we can just ask our Ayush to answer that questions.
So
So
also, I
we are
would
going.
like to say,
Yeah.
if you are going to contribute to the Flutter, so basically you might be thinking that you can only contribute to the framework by coding or doing something. Yes. So it's not like that. Whenever you're contributing to open source projects, you need to understand that coding is not the everything. The other things are also important. Maintaining documentation is really important for any framework. So you need to make sure that documentation is proper. So many people out there think that documentation is not a open source contribution, right? If you go through the Twitter or anything, you might have find some people who think that coding is only the contribution that you can do in the open source, but documentation also plays an important role. And if you come across this, what we can say, uh, if you come across the Flutter, there is also something called as triaging the issues. Right. So if you go through the triaging the issues, it is really important to triage the issue also. So what you can do is you can help the triage team by reproducing the issues. Right. If you have come across some issues which does not have reproducible steps, but if you are able to reproduce the issue, make sure you comment the steps that you went through to reproduce the issue, and also your, I mean, what you can say, the Flutter, your Flutter doctor logs, so people know that okay, the this is what we can say, the issue is reproducible in this version. Okay. And this is really important, and it is really appreciated by the team also. If you go through the contributor access, you can see over that there is written that if you are able to help the team for triaging the issues, you can actually get to the access of the Flutter team member. So
Okay.
so basically, you can get access to the Flutter, I mean, the Flutter repository and Flutter organization. Then you can
Cool.
also apply the labels and everything, which is pretty cool, right? And these are the
Yeah.
things that people also ignore. And
Yeah. Great.
coding
Great.
is not everything, but you can also contribute in other ways.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we have some questions in the comment section, I mean, in the live chat section, and we can go ahead and pull it right away. So, first question is over here. Yeah, this question is asked many a times, and uh, what is the best method for state management? So, what is your view on this? Ayush.
I'm not the right person to answer, but as far as I have worked with Flutter, I would say there is no proper statement solution that you can have for a project. And I've seen many times that people use statement for small applications also, which is not needed. I mean, you don't need to over engineer your applications when you can use a set state or the type define callbacks. If you're able to do those things, I mean, if you are making an what you can say, weather application, you don't need to have a statement solution over there. You can simply use the set state, or even in the stream builder. I love stream builders and the future builders, they are pretty good to have in your
Okay.
applications. And but personally, I use provider because I think provider is pretty easy to understand, and I love,
And
I mean,
yes, so I am also a big fan of Provider. I have used in a couple of projects, and we are getting a new version of actually the Provider, which is known as RiverPod now, and that is the newer version for the. You can just go ahead and check it out. The same person has improved the Provider, and it has been built with a new name with some cool things. Okay. Next question we have is yeah. So the next question is, what will be the path to learn Flutter for beginners who also want to contribute?
so basically, I've started to learn Flutter. How you can contribute is that there are many the many issues labeled as API docs and documentation. So you can go through the documentation issues where you can fix the documentation. Now you might be thinking how documentation helps you. Now, whenever you're documenting some kind of framework, it means that you need to understand how the framework is internally working. You won't be able to write documentation for container, like what the width is doing and height is doing, if you don't know what the height and width is working. So you need to, if you're documenting some properties, or if you're documenting some widgets, is it is really going to help you, because then you will understand how the framework is internally working. So it's win-win for both. You are helping the community across Flutter, and you are also getting benefit by knowing how the internal widget is working.
Cool. So we have another question saying that how to maintain environment. I guess dev beta in production. I guess that's what I think. I
Yeah.
don't understand what is UAT. So I don't know what is that. So what is your view on this? Like how we can manage the different environments?
So basically, this environment is when you in Flutter channels, Flutter branch, like we have stable branch, master branch. or some else?
Maybe I guess his question is like for our personal project, how we can
Maybe
manage.
because
Yeah.
different
So
flavors in the
if
application.
if I'm not wrong, or if I'm not if I'm understanding the question properly, then he wants to ask that if I'm writing a project, right, is there any tool which can easily make some, manage some version differences? Yeah, of course we can use GitHub, and we can have different branches on that. You can follow the same procedure what Flutter is following, Flutter team is following. So Flutter has different channels for different versions, right? Masters,
Yeah.
beta, all the stuff. So yeah, you
So
can
if you
you
want
can
to
use.
maintain environments like that, you can always use Git. You can, except for the GitHub, you can also use the GitLab and everything, Bitbucket
Yeah.
to maintain these kind of versions. But if you're talking about maintaining different versions of Flutter inside, I'm not sure, but there are few plugins available. I guess Pascal, the Flutter GD has, I'm not sure, he has written a plugin which is there to maintain different Flutter environments. So you can also select in which Flutter environment you want to work. If you want to work in this project, if you want to have the stable version or master version or the beta version, or if you can say dev version. I will surely send the link after that. You can add in the description then.
Okay. So we have one more question from Flutterist, and this question is quite big. I save document index numbers into a list array with JSON after I fetch the document from Firestore. Okay, this question is related to a Firebase. I need to control if user already fetched the document index number. So Ayush, do you have any experience working on Firebase and Flutter?
Yeah, I do have some experience, but let me
Okay,
just
so
message.
um, are you able to understand what exactly Flutterist is asking?
So let's see. I'm sorry, I won't be able to answer this.
Okay,
This
so
will be
I
hard.
guess this kind of questions, it is more technical, and the Stack Overflow will be the best place to ask this kind of questions, because we don't know how what scenario you are exactly, what scenario you are facing, and we cannot answer that without knowing the scenario, that what exactly happening with your code, or what exactly you want to achieve with your code, right? Um, I guess another question we have is any alternative to shared preference, or any better way to persist data?
Personally, I have started using the Hive because then you don't need basically the shared preference uses the platform channels to communicate with the Android and iOS. So personally, I have started using the Hive because it is purely training Dart. So it helps you to give the benchmarks for the faster read and write. Also, you can get the data asynchronously, which is not possible in the shared preference.
Okay. So Hive is the cool way to persist the data, or you can use that for offline usability of your data
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. So it is quite good. If you just go ahead and take a look on the plugin, right? It is they have showed some performance compared to the shared preferences and Hive for 1,000 reads and write, and it is
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Okay. We have another question saying, how much time will it take when you feel that you are ready to work in a real time project?
There is no perfect definition for it. I would just say, just go out there and try to work. I mean, if you will feel like I will wait for the thing to happen, like I will be confident enough, those things won't happen. I mean, there is no one expert. There is no one who has who know everything. I mean, everyone lacks some kind of knowledge. I mean, if you ask me, I don't know how the custom painter is working or everything. So you just need to go out and just if you're not confident enough to go to the corporate place, you can take freelance projects. And if you're not able to if you're not able confident enough to do that, so basically you can also ask other people that if they are working on some projects or not, so you can contribute to them also. And I guess
Cool.
you should just go over there and try to clone something, and I mean those things will really help you to build some confidence that at least you know something to do. You know something to do in Flutter, and then you can just simply find an internship to get a corporate experience.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. One more question we have is it's pretty big, but I guess we can just answer this question. I was just going to learn Android Studio and I heard about Flutter. So, what would you recommend? Whether should I go for learning Flutter directly or I should first go for learning Android Studio? So,
Uh,
yeah, Ayush, go ahead.
so this kind of questions today, these questions depend on my opinion is a different thing, because you should be able to understand that Flutter is not internally communicating with the OS directly. It is internally using the Android code only, like how the Android API only. So if you are learning both, I would say, I mean, it depends on you. If you want to just go into the job market right now, and if you want to make some UIs and stuff, I would recommend you can start with Flutter because it will help you to build faster UIs and everything. But if you want to communicate, if you want to make applications which really communicate with the OS and everything, if you can say, uh, there are some applications when you need to access the hardware. I mean, if you want to access the hardware, like you want to access the sensors and everything, I would say just go for the Android thing. And I would say learn the both, because it's good to have knowledge in both, because you at some point you will be coming across that you need to work on plugins, and you won't be having a ready-made plugin for you. And then it will the knowledge of Android or iOS, how the native things are working, will really help you to understand how the plugins are working, and you will be able to contribute to the plugins also.
Okay. Cool. I guess we have one more questions. The question is, when will be release an emulator from Flutter fully functional? Windows emulators is not so good. Is there any
Uh,
news in the going around that we are going to build emulators in Flutter?
so I guess there was some tweets around this. It is a device preview kind of thing, where you can simply select the, what we can say, simply select the device pixel ratios in what pixels you want. So you don't need to have different emulators, and you will be, and that emulator is pretty much running in the Flutter itself. That will be Flutter window, in which you have already defined the different dimension for different mobile phone screens, and then you can change the dimensions over there, and it will automatically give you the output UI screen for that kind of emulators. Then you won't be requiring to have every emulator in your screen.
Cool. So yeah, I guess device preview is good the way to check your responsiveness. Even we had a discussion last session on the device preview plugin. So yeah, I guess that's all from even audience side, and um, we should wrap up this session. It's almost more than 40 minutes we talked over here, and I thanks a lot, Ayush, one more time
Yeah,
to come over here, give your precious time and talk with our audience, giving them the pro tips how we can start. Even I got a pro tips. So yeah, it was a good experience, and I would love to see you again if possible, by with some new topics, right? So yeah, thanks a lot, Ayush, one more time, and we'll see you soon again.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was really a amazing time to share my experience with everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So we are wrapping up, guys, and I guess we will see you with the next guest, maybe in the next week, or I don't know when I can convince the next guest and bring him to my channel. But yeah, we will meet sure with this. We will keep continuing this series. So yeah, bye, guys, and let's end this. Bye bye. Take care.